Hello.
It's over. I told my wife.
Who is this?
Sex and the City aired in the late 90s, and it has been a staple of pop culture ever since. It immediately garnered widespread praise because it provided a fresh look at sex, dating, and female friendships. The show centers on 4 women: Carrie, Samantha, Miranda, and of course Charlotte. Can't forget Charlotte. So today we are going to be diving deep into the first season of Sex and the City, my first ever time watching the whole thing. I love this show. I do have my qualms with it, but we will get into that later. Before I begin, if you would like to follow me on my social medias, I have my main Instagram. I also have my art account. If you would like to follow me on there, go ahead, and my other links will be in the description below. The series is based on the New York Observer column written in the 90s by Candace Bushnell. It was based on her life and the lives of her 30-something-year-old friends. Bushnell initially wrote her column in first person, but then started introducing characters like Carrie and Big because her parents were reading her column, and she didn't want them to be aware that they were reading about her sexcapades. So Candace is Carrie, and Big is based on this guy called Ron Galati. He was an executive producer of several magazines, and he was a VP at Condé Nast. Remember those videos with Claire's Kitchen? Oh my god, I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Ron Galati, for that. He also was a ladies' man, dating models, athletes, and Candace. Now, before the show aired, we had seen television showing female friendships, but it was never really the focus until Sex and the City. This was according to a 2021 Harper's Bazaar article. I did find that the focus of at least season 1 was men. They talk about men a lot, especially Carrie. But, and this is a big but, these women consistently make time for each other. They take care of each other. They go to restaurants. They get their nails done, giving each other advice, giving each other shoulders to cry on. And I really, really appreciated that about the show. It was a reminder that love and fulfillment can come in different forms. And this was definitely one of my favorite aspects of the show. Another factor that was held in really high importance in this show was these women's careers. We have a journalist, a corporate lawyer, a PR executive, an art dealer. And from what I saw based on this season, these women were very invested in and very fulfilled by their careers. We love to see it. Other huge themes of the show I loved were the music and the fashion. The intro features Carrie Bradshaw serving face walking down the New York streets to Latin jazz music composed by Douglas Cuomo. According to Entertainment Weekly, the show's creator Darren Star asked Cuomo for something sophisticated, sexy, with a Latin cocktail theme. Star said, "Take 5. Cuomo heard change lives," and that is what he did. The vibe of this theme song is immaculate. I love that the music supervisor for the show maintained a specific musical theme for certain situations. This Stereo Gum article puts it amazingly. Girls' Night Out was Diana Ross and Cher. Fancy cocktail parties were Danielle Lupi and Frank Sinatra. Summer days, Fatboy Slim and Nick Gilder's Hot Child in the City. Dinner dates were accompanied by sensual piano scores. The music just always perfectly accompanied the situation that was going on. Now, let's briefly talk about the fashion. Starting with the theme song, we can see Carrie dons a white tutu. Now, it's not super common for grown women to be gallivanting the streets in a white tutu. So, how did this costume choice come about exactly? You've come to the right place. So the costume designer, Patricia Field, found the skirt in a $5 bin at a New York fashion showroom. She thought contemporary, cool, whimsical, adventurous, unexpected, kind of like Sex and the City. Field fought to get the tutu into Carrie's wardrobe, and it paid off in effect. The skirt sold for $52,000 US at the beginning of last year. I believe for my Australian viewers, that's nearly $80,000. In this economy, okay, girl. Cool. I mean, but I think that's just proof of how celebrated this show still is. Anyways, Field stated that she also chose it because she thinks that Carrie has princess syndrome, which I think means Carrie is a hopeless romantic, constantly chasing her happy ever after. Field also goes on to state, "My overriding aim would be to make sure that while the clothes were expressive and helping to tell the story, they were never burnt with exposure." So they actually ended up shooting with 3 different outfits for the show's opening theme, but ultimately the tutu came out on top. Here we can see one of the outfits they used. She's wearing a blue dress and she trips instead of getting splashed by water like in the chosen theme song. And I think they chose correctly. It just does not have the same vibe, the same pizzazz as the OG. So in the show, Carrie is known for her unhealthy obsession with expensive shoes that she cannot afford. How does she buy them? I don't know. Her style was very experimental. Miranda's fashion didn't particularly stand out at the time of airing, but a lot of what she wore is actually very, very trendy at the moment. Samantha's style was full of bold, vivid colors. She wore red a lot, typically accompanied by a matching red lipstick and a statement blazer with a bold print too. Charlotte's style was quite preppy. She loved a flowy dress and skirt. She was always dressed very chic, very elegantly. Now I really want to get into my favorite outfits from the season with the 4 main characters, but I think I'll do that after we finish going through all the episodes, so I'm not sitting here waffling for ages. So that will be towards the end of the video if you want to skip to that. Boom. So let us dive into the episodes. The introduction of the show gives us a visual dive into Carrie Bradshaw's column, Sex and the City. She gives us an insight into the world of the late 90s upper middle to upper class, the often conflicting thoughts of women and men in this dating scene. The episode begins with magical ethereal music accompanying the story of Elizabeth and Tim, narrated by our very own Carrie. She tells us that the couple have been dating for a while. The music turns darker and there's heavy rain. We hear thunder crashing when Elizabeth realizes that she has been ghosted by Tim. Carrie's narration is generally accompanied by fast-paced jazz music, but when she's blogging by herself, the jazz is a lot more peaceful and low-key. She often conducts experiments for this column using herself, her friends, and her love interests as subjects. Speaking of her friends, it's Miranda's birthday, and they're gathered at this dinner spot, and their conversations taught me a few things about the characters. Charlotte plays by the rules. She's the quintessential good girl, very intelligent. Miranda is very self-confident, very cutthroat, not too male-centered, especially as opposed to the other girls. She's quite cynical, too cool for the New York popular scene. Samantha, she doesn't like commitment, and she is very confident and very hardworking. Carrie and Charlotte are pretty similar. They're hopeless romantics who think that there's a Prince Charming out there for everyone. Going back to the blog Sex and the City, the views on dating in your 30s by Carrie's interviewees are very interesting, to say the least. The women fully believe that they have value and should not settle. Reasonable. While the men are so convinced that the women out there are purposefully making dating hard on themselves. Are women giving up on love and choosing power instead? Carrie ponders.
What a tempting thought.
Carrie is most definitely not giving up on love. In fact, a big moment in this episode is when she meets Big. Carrie actually very consistently runs into Big. He is very, very mysterious. The first time they meet, Carrie looks Big top to bottom and decides this is her man. This is the man for her. So, no offense, I know there's a lot of Carrie lovers out there, but from this season, I've learned that Carrie lacks self-control, especially when it comes to men. She's a pick-me-light. For example, she hates this man but sleeps with him anyways for the sake of her experiment where she's trying to date like a man, and she's disappointed when he doesn't care that she is trying to date without emotions. Babes, what did you expect to happen exactly? Having sex without emotions is not for Carrie. Experiment failed. But hey, great story for her column. Before I finish off the episode, let's briefly talk about Skipper. I hate Skipper. So Carrie has this friend called Skipper that she knows Miranda will not like, but she sets them up anyways. Skipper hasn't had sex in a year because he thinks he's too nice.
I'm a romantic. I just have so much feeling.
Spoiler alert, he's not. He's your quintessential nice guy. Also, Miranda does hate him, but not that much. Now let's leave on a positive note. The jazz soundtrack is amazing. The show is very warm and it has a grainy texture to it, which I really like. The aura the show creates makes me feel like I'm in it. In this episode, Miranda learns that this guy she's on a first date with only brought her because of an ultimatum that his friends placed. They essentially forced him to stop dating models.
And then he brought you.
So obviously not a model.
In a good way.
Side note, Carrie refers to men like these as modelizers. Men obsessed with dating models, hooking up with models, being seen with models. Miranda is so insulted she calls herself
your intellectual beard for the evening?
The banter when the girls gather for girls' night ins are hilarious. It reminds me of my own little girls' night ins. At this hangout, they're eating takeout at Carrie's. However, their conversations called the Bechdel test a bitch. They spat on it, stomped on it, shat on it, and threw it out the goddamn window, basically. All I hear is all men want is this. All men want is that. You have to be dash to get a man. and comparing themselves to other women. Seeing what women are fed right now as to how we should look, how we should behave, what we should consume, and seeing how much worse it was in the 90s, I do not blame these women for talking like this. Yeah, I know I'm watching a show called Sex and the City, based in the 90s, but let me yap for a second, okay? The patriarchy was having an absolute field day in the 90s. The representations of women during this time were horrific. And as women consumed these stereotypes, we began to believe these things about ourselves. What we saw on TV in the 90s was, for example, that women were significantly thinner than the general population, younger, deemed more attractive, and more dependent on men. And these women's worlds also generally tended to revolve around men. I'm not necessarily complaining, I just think it's very interesting to witness in the year of our Lord 2025. We are seeing way more stories about women, written by women, directed by women. Thus, we are seeing more rounded views on the lives of actual women, the things we actually care about, the things that we strive for. Back to the girls' conversation. Samantha especially is very, very self-assured and isn't as self-deprecating as the other girls. She does have her moments, don't get me wrong. There's this part where the women go in turn talking about things that they don't like about themselves, things that they are insecure about. When it gets to Samantha, she's like, actually, I love myself. And they stare at her like she's speaking some sort of alien language. Miranda responds, good, you paid enough for it. Bitch, what the fuck? No, it wasn't explicitly said, but Sam has had one or more cosmetic procedures. Am I the friend that's too woke, or is that a really mean thing to say to your friend? I find it interesting to constantly engage in behavior, beating yourself up about how you look, purely because you do not look like the women that you are competing for these men with.
When did all the men get together and decide that they would only get it up for giraffes with big breasts?
This episode is titled Models and Mortals, and it very much frames models as these god-type beings. Some models interviewed said things like, as a model, you can get anything you want. According to this show, whatever you want is expensive trips, cosmetic surgery, and motorcycles. All in all, male attention, specifically sexual attention. One of the guys that Carrie interviews says, why fuck the girl in the skirt if you can fuck the girl in the ad for the skirt? Models are very much portrayed as things in this episode. Now, one of Carrie's friends, Harvey Specter from Suits, shows up and immediately starts spewing misogynistic bullshit. He compares women to dogs, he calls them things, and one thing about Carrie, she loves a shitty man. Okay, now her friend is a modelizer and is also an artist. He has created an installation of a bunch of different televisions with displays of him hooking up with various models. It is blatantly stated that he videotapes these models secretly. Why is Carrie friends with this freak? I don't know. Why is he not in handcuffs? I don't know. Carrie doesn't care at all. She is intrigued, yes, but she loves it. Moving on. Skipper. Remember Skipper? Skipper is clingy. Him and Miranda went on one date, and Skipper has called her 100 times, according to him. She's not responding to his texts, so he tells Carrie to call her, takes her phone, and then leaves a message telling Miranda to call him back on Carrie's phone. Okay. Skipper is obviously desperate as fuck, and he does not respect himself. The way this would piss me off if I were Miranda, boundaries. So later, Samantha and Carrie are at a fashion show after party, and surprise, surprise, Big's there. Carrie tells Big about the column she's writing on models, and he seems to take offense to her saying that some people only date models for validation. Turns out that he does just that. And now Samantha is interested in Carrie's friend Barkley, the modelizer. His name's Barkley. Bark is right. Now Carrie tells her not to pursue him because of the secret sex tape that he does with models. They both acknowledge that he is a pervert, but it's laughed off as a joke. The disrespectful, evil things that women shrug off on behalf of male validation in this show is shocking. I think this show tends to take digs at women. Throughout this episode, there's this whole models are stupid narrative, very common in the media, but this male model that invites himself over to Carrie's place states that he does not date models because he thinks they're stupid. The only voice of female models we've gotten in this episode is the interviews with the show making fun of them. One of them that Carrie's interviewing says,
I'm really very literary. I read, I'll sit down and I'll read a whole magazine from cover to cover.
Two instances where this show is specifically poking fun at female models. So that's fun, right? On one hand, there are these models that Carrie and her friends are competing with, and they're revered, put on these pedestals like they're so powerful. They can have everything that they want. But all we've been shown in the show that they're used for is quick hookups, viewed as stupid, easy. The male model that Carrie brought home is characterized as quite self-centered. He constantly talks about himself, barely asks Carrie any questions, and he is so boring. Yet he is the only model with a generous amount of screen time and dialogue. How interesting. So Samantha does end up hooking up with Barkley. She apparently needed the validation of being videotaped by this creep. And when he tells her, I only tape models, she's upset. In fact, she asks him to record them. It's interesting that she needs this man to find her desirable. This man that clearly does not respect women. Samantha may be confident, but like I said, she has her moments. Now at the end of the episode, Carrie runs into Big again, and she finds true happiness in the fact that he explains that models do not provide joy in the long run. He'd want to settle down with somebody he can actually laugh with. Corny. Her conclusion is something to the effect of, I don't need beauty because it is fleeting. After having a 30-second conversation with Big, where she learns that he doesn't only date models and that she might have a chance. So in episode 3, The Bay of Married Pigs, Carrie is staying with her friends Peter and Patience for the weekend when Peter decides to expose himself to Carrie. And I bet she was asking herself, where is the cleaver when you need it? Because I would be. When she tells this to Patience, her friend, she kicks her out of her house. It's crazy. Carrie didn't do anything. Patience, go talk to your husband, girl. Understandably, Carrie has no idea what she did wrong, and Patience is like, you wouldn't understand. You're single. Girl, what the hell does that mean? This later starts discourse between Carrie and her friends. Miranda and Samantha are like, married women view single women as the enemy. We are not to be trusted because they all think that we are after their husbands. If there are actually people in real life that think like this, you need help. Unless there are people that are after your husband, in which case, oh my God, I'm so sorry. All the girls can agree on one thing. Married women, single, pitied. What? All the girls can agree on one thing. Married women pity the single ones. I just have one question. Why are these women framing their husbands like dogs that need to be trained to stay away from single women? They are human beings. If they have wondering eyes, that's not the woman's fault now, is it? Save that energy for your stinking, ashy ass husband, girl. Thank you. Now this conversation prompts Carrie to start a new article. Are married women indeed the enemy? She interviews some of her friends to get the lowdown. This woman, for example, can't even stand to hang out with her single friends anymore because of how they remind her of how desperate she used to be. She also views marriage as growing up and facing reality. Is marriage really all that and a bag of chips for y'all to be acting like this? If so, why do 50% of y'all get divorced? Answer me that. Anyways, Carrie's single friends share the sentiment that people tend to forget who they are when they get married, and this includes leaving their friends behind, leaving their single friends behind. So later, Carrie runs into an ex who is now married and needs an egg because him and his partner would like to have a child. They ask her to think about it and call them, and Carrie is taken aback by all this because they don't want her. Her ex doesn't want her. They want her eggs. She feels dehumanized and like she's being treated like an egg farm. I've never been asked to donate an egg, so like I don't know how that would feel like. Girl, you don't want my eggs. Depression and anxiety. Anyways, another case where single people are just not treated the same as married people is with Miranda. She's at this work organized softball game where when you do well on the pitch, it is translated to promotions and the big bucks in the office. During this game, one of Miranda's colleagues set her up with this girl named Sid. Only one problem, Miranda is straight. This proves her point even more because the guy that set her up with Sid was like, oh, I've never seen her with a man. She must be gay. Like, you can't just be single by choice, hello? In fact, Miranda only agreed to be set up on this blind date because she was tired of being looked upon with pity by her married work colleagues at work events. Now, Miranda tells Sid she's not gay, they have a little laugh, and play some ball. They do so well that they actually get attention from the firm's CEO, and he invites them to a dinner at his house. She's ecstatic, but she also speculates that she only got this attention because she's now seen in a couple, whereas she'd never been before. He seemed so relieved to have finally figured me out, she says.
I've been with the firm for 2 years. He's barely even spoken to me. All of a sudden, it's Chip.
Carrie theorizes that married people don't hate single people, they just want them figured out. Why we all can't just mind our business, I don't know. So to get more information for this article, Carrie goes to her couple friends, David and Lisa. Carrie laments over being single, as she does, when a friend of the couple, Sean, runs into them. And Carrie realizes that they set this up, which she hates. She feels the pity oozing out of them. Carrie and Sean actually end up talking for hours after Lisa and David leave. She gathers that he's the kind of guy that has his life fully set up and is ready for marriage. They keep seeing each other through the weeks. The only thing is that she's not into him, like at all. Elsewhere, Sid and Miranda are on their way to a quote-unquote right-wing Republican dinner party, and they're going as a fake couple. Remember, Miranda wants that promotion, which I'm also like, right-wing Republican, don't they? I thought same-sex marriage I thought they didn't like that. Girl, back to the girls. They open a door to what they thought would be a fun, sophisticated house party. Take away the fun, the house party, and you get a sophisticated couples dinner. They are at Sean's apartment, by the way, the guy that Carrie's seeing. As Carrie walks in, she doesn't feel the judgment of the other couples. They were open and friendly, and she wonders if they're just woke or they finally have her figured out because she is finally observed in a couple. It turns out to be the latter because Samantha is suffering as she's literally discussing stocks with some businessman, and his wife walks in ready to attack. Later, Charlotte tells Carrie that Sean is planning to propose to her. They've been dating for like how many days, weeks at this point? I don't know. Everyone is bigging Sean up. They will not leave Carrie alone. And suddenly, Peter and Patience show up. It's very, very awkward. And a drunk Charlotte shows up and laughs in his face about his
big peppermill deck.
It's what he deserves. Cheers. So back with Miranda, she reveals to her boss that Sid and her aren't really a couple and that she took advantage of the situation to flex her amazing work that she'd been doing at the firm. He doesn't care about that. He's just disappointed that him and his wife can't swing with the lesbians. So that's fun. Casually talking about your employee like that is definitely a choice. I personally would be prompted to file a lawsuit. So Carrie breaks things off with Sean because they obviously want completely different things, which is crazy because, no, it's not because they want different things. Let me pause the teleprompter. It's not because they want different things, because I think if in this amount of time that they had dated, if Big proposed to Carrie, she would be over the moon. She just doesn't like Sean. Continue. Now, Sean goes on a semi-incel rant because she doesn't want to marry him after a week of dating. Okay, this man is desperate as fuck. And instead of leaving, Carrie decides to set him up with Charlotte, who is also kind of desperado to get married, so I guess that makes sense. They date for a while, but they break up because she just can't stand his taste in home decor and goods and such. Carrie finally comes to the conclusion that the war between the singles and the marrieds is nothing more than futile beef. We are all the same, but somehow wound up on different sides. She ponders on this while on the way to a movie date with her 3 girlfriends because there is truly nothing like female friendship. Look how happy they look. So in episode 4, Carrie and Big keep running into each other constantly. And I can't say 100% that I don't believe there's a little bit of stalking going on here. So they finally decide to set a date. Well, Big refers to it as a thing, a drinks thing. Meanwhile, Miranda still has a fuck thing with Skipper, my favorite. Charlotte is also dating a man that ticks all her boxes, and he's trying to buy a painting from her gallery. Hello? How does it feel to live my dream life? So Big doesn't end up showing up for him and Carrie's drink thing. Something came up. Later on, Sam introduces the girls to her new 20-something man, and she also introduces Carrie to one of her guy friends. He's also quite a bit younger. His name is also Sam. So in this episode, I'll refer to Sam as Sam and Samantha as Samantha, just so we don't get confused. Meanwhile, Skipper shows up with a rum and coke for the girls when they specifically asked for martinis. And one thing you gotta know about Miranda, she hates rum, and she sure as hell hates coke. Okay. Then boy Sam pulls up with 2 martinis for the ladies. Poor Skippy. So Sam's at the bar showing Carrie his tongue ring. Big shows up while all this is happening just to leave pretty much immediately because he had apparently been looking for her for ages. Girl, you said you weren't coming. He's acting all pissy, like he didn't cancel plans on her. Anyways, Carrie, Samantha, and their dates end up at a bar with a very young crowd. They are surrounded by a bunch of 20-something-year-old guys, and Carrie analyzes the different archetypes of this specific kind of guy on her way in. The next morning, Samantha recounts her sleepless night with her new young chef man. Carrie then catches Sam's number written on her arm in biro, and she couldn't help but wonder, what do these young men see in older women? We get some interviews from said guys and some very, very questionable answers. Miranda and Carrie walk the Manhattan streets pondering on why they can't seem to find men their own ages. Carrie thinks these young men feel safer around them. Meanwhile, Miranda thinks it's all about sex. Later, Big is inviting Carrie for another drinks thing when Charlotte calls her. Her perfect boyfriend asked her if she would have with him. She's freaked. Now they feel like this discussion requires all of the girls. Carrie lights one up in the car, much to the cab driver's dismay because, and I quote, "We are talking about the butt. A cigarette is in order." Now, Carrie wants Charlotte to do what she feels comfortable with, obviously. Miranda thinks she shouldn't at all. It's all about power, and that's giving the man all the power. And Samantha thinks it's just a hole is a hole, and she shouldn't stress. Carrie shows up to her drinks thing with Big and his friend Jack, for whatever reason. And listen, Jack is an energy vampire. Big explains that Jack is having a hard time. He just went through a divorce and needs some cheering up. He doesn't say sorry. He says, "Will you forgive me?" And personally, I think those are two very different things. I want to hear the S word, okay? You gotta pay attention to their words. Lock in. Carrie thankfully tells them to have a guy's night, and she leaves them some money on the table and walks off.
We'll do our thing another time.
Are you sure?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Then she walks 48 blocks in her $400 shoes because that was her taxi money that she left with the boys at the bar. She ends up at the 20-something-year-old guy's bar she was at with Samantha the other night, and she finds Sam to hook up with just to take the edge off. Over with Charlotte, she's having a bit of a crash out over not wanting to do it with her boyfriend. Thankfully, he's fine to do it Charlotte's way, as in not at all. Over with Samantha, her boy toy compliments the wrinkles in her neck, and she sobers up from her 20-something-year-old guy haze real quick. Meanwhile, Carrie is doing the exact opposite with Sam. She is high on life, having the time of her life. When she wakes up in the bright of the next morning and sees his messy ass home, she's like, "Damn, bitch, you live like this?" Carrie decides that she's over this, and to break this addiction, she moves on to another: shoes. On her walk later, Carrie runs into Big at a cafe, and he asks her to join him, but she leaves with one word:
Bye. Bye.
He chases after her and asks her to dinner, and she says, "Call me." She walks away, and she feels another high, that of, I guess, thinking that she's got Big wrapped around her finger because she's being avoidant to the 2 seconds that she's gonna be avoidant for. Delusional, maybe. Carrie and Samantha are waiting at Balzac, a New York City restaurant that these high-profile white women can't get into. The horror! Samantha is mad. She wants to see the manager. Embarrassed, Sam is prompted to leave. Later on, Carrie continues to fuel her shoe shopping addiction when her card is cut by the salesperson because she ain't got no money. She meets an old girlfriend that covers it. Well, technically her rich businessman guy in the corner is the one that covers it. And of course, she is very happy with her new purchase. She goes home to a bunch of bills writing about her envy for Amelita because she doesn't work, yet gets everything she wants because of the men she dates. Girl, you're dating Big, are you not? If you're not getting stuff from him, I fear that is a skill issue. Anyways, Carrie is later playing poker with the girls, and they're discussing men and money. Charlotte is concerned about this artist who she's in business with, and she is concerned that he may ask her for sexual favors in return. Miranda immediately pipes up, telling her if he even suggests anything that they will sue his ass. Samantha thinks she's too strict. Okay, Sam. Sam's lenient view of SA is incredibly concerning to me. Her willingness to ignore the creepy / illegal things that men do makes it come across that she has an unusual craving for male validation. She has an unnatural allegiance to losers. It's kind of scary. This is just my opinion after only watching the first season. I can't confirm that this is a staple of her personality, but I'm hoping to God that it's not. Amelita later calls Carrie as she's about to go to bed. She invites her out, and Carrie decides my new shoes shouldn't have to go to waste just because I can't budget. She goes out to dinner at Balzac with Amelita and her friends Carlo and Gilles. Now Gilles is set up for Carrie. He's a handsome French architect that is currently passing through New York for work or something. We find out, and it's a huge surprise to me, that Carrie's journalist job actually pays really well, and she is struggling financially purely due to her lust for expensive shoes. I've been there. Not shoes particularly, but girl, I've been there. So after the dinner, Gilles and Carrie ponder on her potentially living in Brazil with him for half a year, but they just settle on her showing him through New York while he's there. Although she sees a couple red flags in Gilles, those being divorced and French, suddenly Skipper shows up at Carrie's, yapping about how he's obsessed with Miranda. What's new? Although he's worried that he's putting her off because she never lets him spend the night. He describes this to Carrie to a disgusting extent. Why is she friends with this man? Carrie recommends that they try to spend the night together without having sex, and he takes this on, and I guess he goes to do his little thing. Who cares? Later, Carrie and Gilles are having a lovely afternoon together, which ends up in Carrie breaking her rule about not sleeping with men without knowing them for at least 24 hours first, and she's like, it's already 1 a.m. in Paris, right?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
The next morning, Gilles leaves super early because he has a flight. When Carrie wakes up, she realizes that he left $1,000 on the nightstand. It was in an envelope with this letter that said, "Thanks for the beautiful day." She is so confused, and she immediately calls Miranda and Sam to the hotel room. They order a shit ton of breakfast because he said, get anything. Miranda then realizes, due to context clues, that Amelita is most likely a high-class sex worker, and this is why she's able to afford so much. Her and Sam then fight over the phrase, men are meant to give and women are meant to receive. Meanwhile, Charlotte arrived at the creepy artist's house, intending to acquire his artwork for the art gallery that she works at. His piece is called the See You Next Tuesday, if you will, and it's basically a bunch of paintings of the vagina, the most powerful source in the universe. I can't say I argue with that. We do be creating human beings, literally. He then asked her to pose for a portrait of her vagina that same afternoon, and after considering it, she agrees. And you know what, girl? Each to their own. As long as it's consensual and you're comfortable, more power to you. In the evening, Samantha and Carrie tried their luck at Balzac again. They try their luck again, seeing as Carrie was there with Amelita a couple nights ago. It doesn't work, but as they are about to leave, Amelita spots Carrie and brings her to join her entourage. Pretty much immediately, they invite Carrie to go with them to Venice for the film festival, the Venice Film Festival. When will it happen to me? Amelita suggests that Carrie comes with, and she writes about it for her blog. One of the men gropes Carrie as he insists that she comes with, and Carrie could not help but ponder on the prospect of living life as a professional girlfriend, as it was earlier referred to. Go to Venice, find a rich man, have a rich divorce, live the life of a high-class, non-working woman. She decides that's not the life for her because she has morals, whatever that means. In the bathroom before leaving, Carrie runs into the hostess of the restaurant, the one that wouldn't let her and Sam in earlier, and she asks her for a tampon, leading to her and Sam never struggling to get into Balzac again. Weeks later, she and the girls are at Charlotte's new art exhibition, and they are trying to guess which portrait of the vagina is hers. The episode ends with the woman wide-eyed in awe of Charlotte's portrait. The episode opens with Carrie serving at a promotional shoot for her column. The one we've seen numerous times, including in the intro where she's wearing that new dress. Well, she got to keep that dress, and she's wearing it on her first official date with Mr. Big. Her friends are there to celebrate this momentous occasion. The topic of discussion gets to whether Carrie and Big will hook up that night, and Carrie insists that she will not be doing that. We've heard her mention this rule about not sleeping with a man within the first 24 hours, but she has broken that rule in the past, so unreliable narrator. Could we really trust her? Who knows? Now, these are her friend's thoughts on the matter. Charlotte thinks if you're serious about him, you'll wait till the 5th date, specifically the 5th date. The number of dates you have is proportional to your age. Sam thinks if it happens, it happens. The rules were meant to make women who have sex feel bad. Men can dump you regardless of whether it's the 1st or the 10th date. Isn't it better to find out if the sex is good sooner rather than later? She might tell a joke, but she will never tell a lie. She be lying sometimes, but not in this instance. Miranda's like, don't worry about having sex. Just focus on looking good. Don't fuck on the first date and you're fine. And Carrie definitely wants to, but she says, isn't delayed gratification the definition of maturity? And she goes on to hook up with Big in the limo before their date. So I guess not. They end up at this budget Chinese restaurant, I believe it's called Feng Hua, where she runs into her friend Mike on a date. When Mike's date tries to introduce herself to Carrie, Mike cuts it off immediately. Weird. At a boxing class over with Miranda later, she knocks out a man by accident and they hit it off immediately, no pun intended. He's Tad, he's a doctor, and he has a nice ass apartment. So later on, Carrie's discussing with Mike why he was so weird towards his date. Her name's Libby. Earlier, he goes on to say he thinks the girl is so smart, so funny, and they have great chemistry. He even feels safe with her, but she's just not someone he'd date. Wanna know the unspoken truth? He is embarrassed to be seen with her, and he doesn't think she's pretty. He just doesn't think she's pretty. I think I would end up in jail if somebody I was dating said this about me. And Carrie just couldn't help but wonder, how many of us out there are having great sex with people we are ashamed to admit to our friends? Sam has no secret sex. Her friends know all about her sexcapades. Charlotte has though, and the girls immediately go to her workplace to find out more information. It was a moment in time where she was intoxicated with a guy who was a priest and an artist. Carrie wonders whether secret sex is denying one's feelings or just being in pure, judgment-free moments hidden from the rest of the world. All of a sudden, Big calls her for the first time since the rendezvous. He says he misses her and he wants to go on a proper date with her. I thought y'all were going on a proper date the first time. What happened to that? This man is so unreliable and flaky. I don't like it. Anyways, they're on a walk later when Big runs into his friends, and Carrie experiences deja vu when he doesn't introduce Carrie to them or even really acknowledge that she's there. Now their next date is back at Feng Hua, and Carrie concedes that this restaurant is the go-to for rendezvous with secret hookups for men, and she basically gets a confirmation from her friend Mike, who she met there the other day. Over with Miranda and her new man Tad, they wake up after having spent the night together, and she ransacks his place looking for red flags, and she finds a flag. All right, spanking porn. Where it's the man getting spanked. She can't figure out if this is indeed a red flag, whether it's worth breaking up for, or if, it's something that she could get over. Later, the girls are at a get together for Carrie's, promotional blog bust reveal advert thing. This is when Charlotte blatantly states that if Big and Carrie didn't sleep together on the first date, he would be there like she wanted. Mean, just saying, and just like blatantly not true. I just don't think that Big cares about her that much. So Mike shows up to this get together without Libby, who finally turned him down because she found someone who wasn't embarrassed to be around her in public. His intimacy issues, as she called it. The bus finally shows up, although there is a dick graffitied on Carrie's ad, and she's so embarrassed. Oh, poor Carrie. I'd be embarrassed too. I'd just be mad. Get that off. Get that thing off. So Miranda just finished a great date with Ted when she asks if he wants to get spanked. He freaks out and ghosts her. Literally never calls her, never texts her, never sees her again. He also cancels his membership at the gym that they met at. What a reaction, but also, why did you say that? Why did you say that, Miranda? He never divulged that to you. There was a better way to start that conversation, and it was not that. Anyways, drunk, Carrie later decides to go over to Big's house to finally, allegedly, break things off with him. She rants at him about how he's embarrassed of her, won't meet her friends, won't introduce her, and he takes her to secret restaurants. She now blames herself for sleeping with him too fast. Carrie has lost her marbles. This could have been a calm conversation. I think Big is a bad communicator, but so is Carrie. She doesn't bring things up until she's like up to here with it, and then she just kind of blows up. Her anxious attachment style does not let her communicate properly, and Big is the opposite. He has an avoidant attachment style. This just doesn't work. They should not be dating each other. Anyways, Big explains that he didn't remember the name of the man that they met on the street, which is why he didn't introduce them. I'm so sorry, I don't believe that for a second. That is a stupid excuse. Also, he says he loved Feng Hua's, and that's why he keeps taking her there. It's not a secret rendezvous spot for him. He just genuinely likes it. She is not a fragment of what he needs. Like she said, he just doesn't know her well enough yet, and they reconcile. I need Carrie to think a little bit deeply of the things this man said. Like, you don't know him. I think it's when you're first starting to date people, you need to be realistic and just not straight up believe everything they say. Of course, they're gonna tell you what you want to hear. At this point, Big and Carrie are inseparable. They are obsessed with each other. So much so that Carrie has not seen her friends in weeks. As Carrie calls it, the cardinal sin. The girls all gather that night and they all catch up on what they've missed. Charlotte has been seeing a guy who everyone keeps calling perfect, but he keeps trying to get her to give him head. Coercion, that's coercion. In the restaurant, Carrie notices Big while he's on a date with a woman named Julia. Carrie pulls him for a chat where she tells him that she's surprised that he is still seeing other women. Then she walks off mad as fuck, body tea as fuck. Carrie then starts to crash out over this. She doesn't have the capacity to date multiple men, yet he is happily dating these other women. I know these days with dating, at least in the context of my life, I live in Australia, I'm in my late 20s, it's customary to assume that everyone is dating multiple people, but I wonder just how different it was back then. I can't imagine that it would be that different. Now, Carrie writes pondering whether monogamy has become a problem for New Yorkers. We get some everyday New Yorkers' opinions on this. Meanwhile, Sam promises her real estate agent that she will not go to any other agents. She is solely sticking with her. But Sam is trying to find her dream apartment, and if she's got a lie to get there, then that is what she's gonna do, okay? She is seeing and even hooking up with another real estate agent, and I'm pretty sure she's seeing other agents as well. Carrie later has a chat with Stanford, who thinks monogamy has gone out of fashion. He then introduces Carrie to his friend Jared, who flirts with her and invites her out. Later, Big calls her asking if they're still on for dinner the next day. He set it up when he was caught with the other women at the bar earlier, and he wants to make it up to her. And Carrie and Miranda are discussing something that Big said in this call. He said, "I miss you, baby." It's messing with Carrie's mind. Are they exclusive or not? Not. He hasn't said that you are. Skipper then runs into them, and Skipper's actually on a date. He's very much shoving his date in Miranda's face, and she's jealous. She later calls him while Skipper is actually having sex with his girlfriend. He picks up the phone as soon as he hears Miranda's voice. She's giving him all this compliments and asks him out to dinner. Skipper cuts it off with his date right there, mid-coitus. BT dubs. He literally says, "The woman who I love just called me and wants me back." Jail immediately, jail immediately. I don't want to hear any more. Later, Big and Carrie are on a really bougie dinner thing when a gorgeous woman runs into them and kisses Big on the mouth. Apparently, she's just a woman that he used to travel with. Right, I know what you mean by that. They then run into one of Big's friends who assumes Carrie's name is Julia, and I assume this is because Big is also relatively seriously dating a girl called Julia, because clearly he's told his friends about her and not about Carrie. Carrie's mad and they argue over what exactly he did wrong, and he doesn't end up really answering any of the questions she has. Firstly, I do feel bad for Carrie, but I'm not 100% sure why. She is surprised. He did tell you that he was dating other people and it was never really addressed since then. Did you really think he would change his mind without talking to you directly? Like, realistically, Carrie needs to go find someone that wants to be exclusive early on, like that one man that wanted to marry her after a week, but obviously someone she actually likes. This would just provide less stress for her, and it's the same with Big, vice versa. He needs to go find someone he actually wants. This dumb game that they're playing, it needs to end. And I know it only gets worse from here, at least from the memes that I've seen on Twitter. Hey, at least it's entertaining. Anyway, she leaves and she runs into Stanford and Jared, and she goes for it. Was monogamy still for her? Over with Miranda and Skipper. Okay, girl. Over with Miranda and Skipper, they're having some post-coital pillow talk. She's like, I don't mind if you're seeing other girls casually. I don't mind if you keep dating the girl that I saw you with the other day. We're casual, go ahead. Miranda is horrified when he tells her that he broke up with her while she was on the phone with him the other day, while they were having sex. This man is bonkers cuckoo bananas. This is one thing I really love about Miranda. She is an excellent communicator. She states exactly what she wants while dating or hooking up or whatever. And look how calm she is. Meanwhile, Skipper, old Skippy over here, is crashing the fuck out with zero right to be this upset. I am sorry. Guys, how about we start dating people who like us and outwardly show that? Just a thought. Just a thought. Later, Charlotte is at Michael's, her new man, with his nosy ass fucking dog, by the way, and he's still trying to coerce her into giving him head. She tells him she hates it, and he continues to do so. And he's like, well, I need BJ's, and if you can't provide it, I'm gonna go elsewhere to get it. She dumps him and leaves. Praise be. Meanwhile, Samantha is touring another apartment with the real estate agent that she is hooking up with. She thinks this is the one. She thinks this is the apartment for her, and they start hooking up when her other real estate agent walks in with a bunch of people about to tour the apartment, and she's like half naked. And the only thing the real estate agent is shocked by is the fact that Samantha has another real estate agent. Later, with Jared and Carrie at a bar, Big calls her and she tries to make him jealous with Jared talking over her shoulder while he's still on the phone. Big and Carrie set up a date for later. They finally meet at 2 a.m. after being lost for ages. At this point, just pick a pin on the map and go there. I'm so confused. Anyways, exhausted and mad, Carrie discusses wanting to stay still with him. I guess that's code for exclusivity, but he doesn't respond and the episode just ends. Okay. Now, Charlotte and this guy named Jack are at a charity ball where they meet for the first time and begin to date. Everything is going amazingly, and one day Jack asks Charlotte, what are your fantasies? She's like, I want to own a gallery, I want a cottage, and he's like, no, kinky stuff. What are your fantasies? Kinky style. This conversation is so crazy. And then he's like, well, my fantasy is to have a threesome with another woman. She tells the girls, and Miranda's like, he just wants to watch you be lesbian for the night while he watches and jerks it. So Miranda's had a threesome once. Carrie and Charlotte have never done it, and Samantha has had many a threesome. I can't say I'm surprised by any of these statistics. Carrie theorizes that guys are currently obsessed with threesomes. They are all the rage. But she simply couldn't help but wonder, what about the woman? Samantha is actually having an affair with this old guy. I fuck with Sam in all of her cocky ways, but not this. What about the woman, Samantha? What about the woman? Charlotte and Jack are at this bar and he's incredibly sleazily hunting for thirds. We saw you across the bar and we really dig your vibes, you know? Charlotte is actually none the wiser that he's doing this at first, but they end up finding a girl and they go back to his place. Now, later while Miranda is crashing out over her friends not wanting to have a hypothetical threesome with her, Charlotte is beaming over the one that she had last night. In the newspaper ads, Carrie sees a bunch of seeking threesome ads and she begins to think. While she still believes in her version of monogamy, she was very surprised earlier when the virgin Charlotte said that she enjoyed her threesome. So she's later writing her column at Biggs when he's told her that he's had threesomes with his ex-wife. Carrie didn't even know he had an ex-wife. Now, why would you just blurt that out, sir? Have some fucking couth. She later complains about it to the girls, and Miranda urges her to find the ex. Girl, that's not even her boyfriend. That's not even her boyfriend. It is not worth the hassle. At your big age, no. So Carrie's stupid ass, joking. So Carrie eventually finds the ex-wife at her workplace. Totally normal behavior. Her name's Barbara. She is a publisher, and Carrie fakes an interview with her to find out a little bit more about her. Now she's pretending she wants to write a children's book for adults. She wants to write a book about a little girl with a magic cigarette. Hell, I'd read it. And Barbara loves it. And Carrie hates that she loves her. Miranda's later talking to her therapist about being sexually rejected by her friends.
So you're saying that you're attracted to your girlfriend?
No, but if your friends won't go down on you, who will?
And Carrie is in bed with Big, lamenting over him having an ex-wife. I've dated someone who had an ex-wife. They didn't really care. Of course, I wanted to find out more later, but like, who cares? Now, Big doesn't want to talk about it. Gee, what does Big ever want to talk about? To be fair, that is his personal life, but this just tracks with his past behavior. He's not a great communicator. The next morning, Carrie meets Barbara for a work lunch. And I'm pretty sure Carrie straightened her hair to look more like Barbara, which I find so creepy. Now, Barbara tells her that she wants to be friends with her because she really likes her column. She's actually been a fan of it for a while. A few drinks in, they start discussing Barbara's ex-husband, Wandering Eye. Now, she never explicitly says it's Big, but it's obviously big. This Wandering Eye led to him cheating on her with her best friend, which led to their divorce. Bright rouge crimson tomato red flag if I have ever heard one. But that's her man, and she ain't letting him go apparently, so that is her cross to bear.
Hello.
It's over. I told my wife.
Who is this?
That was so fucking funny. Sam is so upset. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with him. Meanwhile, the wife calls her crying, saying, "We love each other. We can save this." She's like, "If this is what it takes to save my marriage, I will have a threesome with you and my husband." Divorce! Divorce, babes. Thankfully, Sam does find this quite icky, as do I. Now later, Charlotte is at this masquerade party and she gets a second heartbeat when she sees a pretty lady walking on the dance floor. She realizes that another fantasy of hers is hooking up upstairs at a party. The pretty woman joins her and her man, and they start to have a threesome when the two of them completely forget that Charlotte's there. They completely disregard her. They literally push her off the bed, so she leaves. That's crazy behavior. So Miranda, desperate for a threesome, is on a date who put a seeking ad in the newspaper. They are over the moon about her. She gets the validation that she needs, that they are attracted to her and they do want to have a threesome with her, and she leaves them all high and dry, happy as hell. Later, Carrie and Big have another awkward dinner after all their antics that week. They then finally talk about how he has an ex-wife and the fact that they still talk. In fact, he still talks to all of his ex-wives. Yet another red flag in my opinion. Is that necessary? I don't think so. Now, Carrie's not at all comfortable with that, and once again, they don't really resolve the situation. They kind of skim the surface of the actual issue, and then he kisses her or says something nice about her, and she's all giddy and shining her teeth. Girl, lock in, seriously. Nobody. These bitches is nobodies. All right, so it is about a week and a half later. If you're wondering why this video took me more than one day to film, it's because hot girls have stomach issues. I did bleach my brows. So Brooke was an interior designer who only dated A-list men. Brooke is getting married and Carrie is so surprised because the same man she's getting married to is the same guy that she had described as being boring as a brick in the past. The girls are all sat at the weird singles table and Sam leaves to avoid this strange pushy man who they call the turtle. The bride answers this question that Carrie had. Is it always good to marry someone who loves you more than you love them? Now this gets Carrie thinking. Oh, girlie couldn't help but wonder, why do people get married when they're not in love? Or she calls Big and asks him because she knows that Big has been married a couple. How many times has this man been married? I honestly, I don't even know at this point. I'm gonna say at least 3. So Carrie calls Big and asks him, why do people get married if they're not in love? And after giving his opinion, Big is like, well, I definitely don't want to get married again. Now this is a huge bomb for Carrie. Later, she talks to the girls about dating a man who doesn't want to get married, and these are their thoughts. Sam says, you've got to play the game, play it cool, then he'll wonder why you don't want marriage. Miranda isn't surprised. A lot of men don't want to get married, and she also thinks that Samantha's view is pretty immature. According to Charlotte, the prospect of dating for years and not getting married is depressing to her. She also thinks honesty and communication are paramount to a good relationship, so she kind of views that you have to share your points on marriage with whoever you're dating, obviously before you get too far into the relationship, and Sam thinks that she's naive. Honestly, I agree with the honesty and communication thing that Charlotte mentioned, but obviously people lie and manipulate, so you have got to be wary, and sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when you realize that somebody's playing the game, you gotta play the game right along with them. Well, you don't have to, but I think I have too much pride to not play the game, and I am working on that. No, I'm not. I'm not working on that. I will work on that. I'm planning to work on it. The conversation turns to vibrators. Later, Carrie, Miranda, and Charlotte are at the sex store. And Miranda is able to convince the girls that sex toys aren't that scary. Now, don't let Charlotte's demeanor here fool you, because she gets addicted to the rabbit. Even canceling on Carrie when they have plans so that she can go back home and get back to her rabbit. Later, Sam and this man are on a date when he ghosts her and Sam finds him flirting with another woman. She's about to leave when she runs into that pushy man from the wedding earlier. They refer to him as Turtle. He is the titular turtle from the title of this episode, The Turtle in the Hair. Now she can't find it in her to say no to him right now because he's very complimentary towards her, and this is the validation she needs right now after being rejected. They're on a date later and she straight up tells him, "Your breath stinks." He surprisingly takes this in stride, and Sam finds that she really enjoys his company. She sees him as a fixer-upper. Now later, Brooke and Carrie, Brooke the lady that just got married, are walking along when they run into Sam and Turtle after they just gotten back from a shopping spree, and Turtle is styling. I don't know what Sam did, but she ate that up. He looks good. Later on, Carrie and Stanford are talking after a ballet that they went to, when Stanford brings up how brutal the dating scene is for him because no one wants him. Stanford mentions that not even men that look like him want to date him. So sad. And Stanford is supposed to get this huge inheritance from his homophobic grandma when he gets married. So you can see why he's so stressed. This man has problems on problems. Back to the rabbit. Carrie and Miranda really want to go out with Charlotte this night, but she cancels on them because she's busy with Le Rabbit. How do you say rabbit in French? Lapin? I have to Google this, I'm so sorry.
In French, rabbit is lapin.
Did you hear that? Lapin. The girls decide it is time for an intervention. They go to Charlotte's place and hijack the rabbit, and she finally realizes that she has gotta get back out there. Meanwhile, Sam is at dinner still trying to coach the rabbit when she realizes that you simply cannot teach charisma. She can't change the turtle, so she leaves. So later, Stanford and Carrie are at his wealthy ass grandmother's place, and they're playing couple. Now, Carrie looks around at all the family photos scattered about the house. This is when she realizes that she does want to have a family, and unfortunately, Big not wanting to get married is not good enough for her, or so she says. Now, Stanford's grandmother loves Carrie. She pulls Carrie aside and is like, "Carrie, I love Stanford, but you know he's gay, right? So what does that mean? Does that mean you're giving him his inheritance or what? Get to it. Get to it. Get to it." So later, Carrie is at Big's house when she blurts out that she indeed does want to get married eventually. And Big is like, "Carrie, I thought we were just having fun." And then he kisses her and she starts shining her teeth. That's literally the end of this interaction. So like, do you guys see a pattern here? Carrie brings up something that bothers her. Big does not address it. He just kisses her or he compliments her, and then she starts to smile and all is forgiven, and they don't go further into the topic. She is setting herself up for disaster, and I think Big is smart enough to know that Carrie and him want different things, but he likes Carrie to a certain extent, or he likes hanging around her. But Big knows that this is not the girl that he is going to settle for. Even said by the costume designer of this entire show, Carrie has princess syndrome. She wants to get married. She wants to have that happily ever after. It's not gonna happen with Big.
Sometimes there is nothing harder in life than being happy for somebody else.
All the girls feel this way as they're complaining about an upcoming baby shower of their friend, Lainey. The girls realize that they kind of just hate her. This is because she is a wild girl with low self-esteem. Okay, interesting. Sam calls her sad, and Carrie thinks that Sam is calling her sad because Sam and Lainey are so similar. They're also just really surprised that she managed to settle down with a banker, she moved to the country, and she had a baby. They would never have expected that. Soon, Carrie begins to panic when she realizes that her period is a week late. The girls are later on the way to the wedding, and these are the gifts they got for the baby shower. Miranda gets her a condom. Charlotte gets her this massive fuck off gift basket Carrie forgot because of the pregnancy scare, and Samantha gets wine that she plans to drink at the shower. Now the girls show up to the house, and it is very suburban mom. The only person that kind of even fits in at all is Charlotte. This has to be the worst place for Carrie to be at right now because this shower makes her even more scared about the pregnancy scare. Immediately, Carrie goes to take a pregnancy test. Lainey then reveals the baby name, which Charlotte realizes was her made-up name for her first daughter. Lainey stole Charlotte's baby name, and she knew it.
You bitch. Let's go.
The girls later decide to go to a bar while shit-talking both the shower and shit-talking mothers. The only person who's not partaking in this shit-talking is Carrie, who reveals that she might soon be a mother. Now they ask her if she's gonna tell Big, and she says that she won't until she knows how she feels about it. Carrie and Miranda are looking for pregnancy tests later, while Carrie wonders if she could really have a child. The girls think that they may be a bit too insane for babies, but are likely gonna end up with them anyways. I don't like this outlook. I don't like this outlook on life at all. If you think you're too crazy to have a kid, don't have a kid. That's a whole ass human being. I'm sorry. That's a whole ass human being. Later on, Charlotte is throwing away all her childhood dream stuff from her childhood dream box because it feels to her like Lainey had just ruined all her plans by stealing her baby name. Speaking of, Lainey calls Carrie later and is like, I miss you, let's go out sometime. Carrie does not invite her, thankfully. How are you gonna steal someone's best friend's baby name and then ask them to hang out with you later? Why would she hang out with you? Why would she hang out with you? Lady shows up to the party anyways. That's fun. That is very embarrassing. You will never catch me doing that unless I'm planning to cause havoc. So like I said, Lainey shows up to the party uninvited, heavily pregnant. She goes on to ask for an alcoholic beverage and she's like, just one. Girl. Shortly after, Charlotte goes off at Lainey for shading them earlier, but all of a sudden wanting to party with them. As she should. I love that Charlotte is a cutesy banana and she knows what she wants and she doesn't let people make her feel bad about it. I love that. I really do love that about Charlotte. But she just needs to go through a little period, like a little sad period, and then she's like, hold on, wait a minute, I'm fine. Which is exactly what happens in this scene, and she sees a man who's actually interested in her and she realizes, wait, my future will be fine. I'm fine. She realizes that maybe her childhood dreams aren't gone. While it doesn't sit right with me that it took a random man for her to realize this, I'm glad she realized it. Let's look within ourselves. Have you tried to speak to the manager within? Back at the party, Lainey isn't getting enough attention, so she gets up on his table and begins to off her shirt. Now, Lainey used to do this way back in her drunken, wild, young days. But she's not wild or young anymore. Halfway through taking off her top, she realizes that that part of her life has passed, and she gets down from the table. Growth. Later, Carrie is at a park watching some kids play, and she wonders whether she'll actually be able to rise up to the task of raising children. She's not sure, but it didn't matter right in that moment, so she chooses to take a breath. And her period starts on the way home. Is she pregnant? Carrie and Big are in bed, being corny. Narrator Carrie starts a conversation about comfortability when dating. Big and Carrie have gotten comfortable enough to just sleep in the same bed without doing anything. Knocking out on the same bed, my love language. Now one morning in bed, Carrie slips out a little fart. She says, or her ass says, her and she rushes out of the room quickly out of embarrassment, but she does so too quick and bonks her head on the door. Girl, so embarrassed. She gets over it pretty quickly the next time they see each other, and he pranks her using a whoopee cushion under her seat. I miss whoopee cushions. Can we bring back whoopee cushions? Now, Carrie and Big are still hanging out later on when she wants to do the nasty, but he is too tired. Knowing Carrie, this starts a little overthinking marathon for her. Now, she's very disappointed, especially when this happens 3 times in a row. Carrie doesn't think, sometimes people get tired and they just want to go to bed. No, she thinks it's because she farted. Girl, what the fuck is wrong with you? Now later, her and Miranda are talking about the dry spell, as well as the fact that she feels so fucking embarrassed over farting in front of him. This woman is 32 years old. Get a grip. The standards for women were so much worse back in the day, but also I'm like, you're 32. Like, stand up? Question mark? Do some, like, you farted, big fucking whoop. Anyways, Miranda is truly the voice of reason on this show. She tells Carrie that everybody farts, you're a person, you're gonna fart. Although I will say I do feel a bit more sympathy for Carrie when she reveals that she views Big as this perfect being. And in turn, she feels like she has to be perfect. Carrie sort of gets an epiphany when Miranda tells her that the frequency of sex is different for every couple. You and everyone needs to figure out how much is normal for them. You can't compare yourself to other couples because you're not them. So Miranda asks her, well, how much is normal for you? How much is normal for your couple? And Carrie simply doesn't know. Cue various New Yorkers sharing their opinions and anecdotes on the matter. Later on with Samantha and Carrie is still fucking droning on about her embarrassment over farting in front of Big. I'm aware of the time that this show was released in and blah 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 blah. It's bothering me, so I'm gonna speak about it because this is my channel. I can do whatever I want. I'm tired of her talking about this. I'm so sick. Oh my god, I think this is the one episode where Carrie annoyed me the fucking most. What is wrong with you? You farted, big whoop. Get over it. I feel like for Carrie, the worst person that she can discuss her relationship issues with is Sam, because Sam and Carrie date so completely differently. I think the person who gives the best advice to Carrie is Miranda, because Miranda constantly asks Carrie, well, what do you want? She constantly reminds her that she is just a person and she should not hold these insanely high standards for herself. Sam calls the fart a big mistake. She calls it a big mistake because men aren't supposed to know that women are humans. You have to constantly be perfect in front of them. Now, I understand that especially back then, women were held to stupid, bombastic standards and were so heavily socialized this way. Socialized so they think like this. And honestly, I don't think that the way we are socialized these days are significantly different from the way we were socialized back in the day. I really don't, and that's just a personal opinion. I understand why you would think different, but I would say at least now, for the most part, women are able to push against these standards and not bask in them like Sam does. This, I think, really hammered in my head that the chic, confident Samantha harbors so much internalized misogyny. Although I will say I think the show is aware of this, aware that they are presenting Samantha as this confident woman who maybe is not as confident as she comes across as at first view. I think this way because of characters like Miranda. Miranda and I, to an extent, share quite similar values. I believe that women should be allowed to just be women in their natural states. We should not let male validation convince us to do things that are harmful, honestly even the slightest bit uncomfortable, for the sake of keeping a man. At the end of the day, you're the only person that's going to be in your head for the rest of your life. No one is going to think the same things you do. No one is going to be hurt by the same things you are. You have to live here forever. So surely surround yourself with someone that you actually fucking like, that doesn't make you feel like you have to pretend to be something that you're not to keep them around. That's a bit stinky. So now I have been personally told by older relatives, you have to know how to cook, clean, be docile, not for yourself, but for your future husband. The person that I don't even fucking know yet. Are you taking the piss? Are you taking the piss? Don't swear. Men don't like that. Don't get tattoos. Men don't like that. Don't have fat in these specific places, but you must have enough fat in these other places, because that's how men like it. I'm sorry, who gives a fuck? I'm sorry, who gives a fuck? Also, wouldn't you think that women who truly love themselves would be like, okay, I need to find somebody who will love me for who I am, and I don't need to make myself, carve myself into this fucking fake, non-farting, always pretty looking, hairless girl because of these fucking stupid made up rules that someone's made up like 100 years ago. Anyways, I'm tired. That's all I have to say. Samantha then tells Carrie, and I quote, to go fuck his brains out. Her words, not mine. And he will forget all about her and her little flatulence situation. You would think by the way that Sam is talking about this that she farted and the methane was so heavy that it caused an explosion in his apartment complex and destroyed like 10 of the apartments. And she has to pay for it or something. It was just a little fart. It bothered his sinuses for like 5 seconds. And she has to do all this. Now the two girls are currently at a yoga class, and Sam is able to find the time to simultaneously aggressively flirt with her yoga instructor Siddhartha and ask him out. Very, very, very unfortunate, because when they go on a date later, Sam realizes that he is celibate and has been for the past 3 years. Siddhartha views this as his sexual energy continuously being recycled, like a 3-year-long foreplay. And Sam is very into it. Sam, of all people, Delulu, I'm sorry girl, you are not gonna be the one to get him to take off his drawers. So go find somebody else. Why do people like to stress themselves out like this? So we've made it to another girl date. I love these so much. And today it's dinner at Charlotte's, and the first word out of Carrie's mouth concerns Big. Okay, cool. The girl is so confused as to why Big still isn't having sex with her. And at this point, surely just ask him. Anyways, moving on. If you have not noticed yet, Charlotte is a serial monogamist. Charlotte and Carrie are both experiencing a little bit of a dry spell, and she's in a similar boat as Carrie because her current boyfriend Kevin and her have not had sex yet. Charlotte tries to convince Carrie that going a while without sex is perfectly normal. Anyways, there's a little plot twist here. Charlotte's man, Kevin, and Carrie have hooked up before. She also reveals that she broke up with him because he was a sex maniac. Crazy, because Charlotte's having the complete opposite problem. Now Charlotte hears this and she's over the moon because she thinks, oh my god, he loves sex, but he's abstaining and he's holding himself back for me. She goes to this place, they start hooking up, and he's like, I'm sorry, this is just not gonna work. I'm not that sexual a guy. Charlotte is aghast. What do you mean you're not that sexual a guy? My best friend Carrie called you a sex maniac. She doesn't say that out loud, she thinks it in her head. Charlotte immediately blames herself and asks him whether it's her or whether it's something that she did wrong. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. And I'm also talking to you beyond the screen here, across from the screen, across from me. It rarely has anything to do with you, and even if it does, that's literally none of your business. It has more to do with their experiences in life, how they perceive things. We're not special enough for people to change their opinions that quickly, generally, most of the time. So if someone does something, it's generally because they want to or they don't want to. So anyways, Charlotte's self-esteem went right out the window, and I'm very, very sorry about that. See how her self-esteem was raised because a man gave her attention, and it was diminished because a man is not giving her the attention that she wants. I hate this. I hate this so much. Charlotte brings up the fact that she thought he was a sex maniac, and he says, well, that was before I went on antidepressants. I'm on antidepressants now, and it has significantly lowered my libido, and I'm fine with that. And that's okay. Like, see how confident the man is in the fact that he does not want to do anything sexual? That's the confidence she should have, whether she wanted to do something sexual and he did or didn't. There are nuances to this, especially because of the fact that a lot of men are fucking scary and don't know how to take no for an answer. Over at Carrie's apartment, she's all consumed by this Mr. Big farting situation as she waits for a date with him that night. She walks over to her window and stops when she witnesses her neighbors having sex. Instead of closing her blinds, she sits there and watches like a pervert. Later on, Carrie gets all dolled up. She wears a really nice dress and she goes over to Big's apartment where he will no doubt be wearing week old pajamas. Carrie arrives while he's watching a boxing match. He is so disinterested in whatever she's putting out, and this girl is all over him. The secondhand embarrassment I witnessed when watching this scene is astronomical. Even just thinking about it is making me cringe. Oh god. Carrie tries for so long, he deadass eventually just tells her to fuck off. Carrie, that's not your man. That's not your man. That's not your man. Oh my god. Fuck off? Big is a fucking dick. I'm so sorry. He could have handled this way better. First of all, you didn't have to let her in. You didn't have to buzz her in. You didn't. You could have got her some wine and a fruit platter, and I'm sure she would be happy to just chill while you watch your game. Obviously, in my opinion, Big does not care about Carrie that much. He does not care about her. He doesn't care about her comfortability. He doesn't care to ease her anxiety. She's just there as a placeholder to entertain him when he needs entertainment, to look pretty when he needs a pretty girl there. He doesn't like her, in my opinion. After watching just the first season, I don't think he likes her. I know I haven't gotten to that episode yet, but there's this one screen cap that I constantly see on Twitter, and it's when Carrie is at the front door of Big's apartment, and she has like a magician outfit or something, a big top hat, and she's there entertaining him while looking like Boo Boo the Fool. This scene gave me those exact vibes, and I didn't like it. I didn't at all. So Carrie's like, fine, I'll leave. Since you don't want me in your perfect apartment, I don't fit into your perfect life with your perfect job, so I'm gonna go. Carrie storms out and waits at his door for 10 seconds, hoping that he will come out and do a grand gesture. Now it's time for a quiz. Did Big come to the door? A, yes, within 10 seconds. B, yes, after 10 seconds. C, no. D, no, but he left her a voice message for when she got home. Now, if you answered A, you are incorrect. If you answered B, you are also incorrect. If you answered D, you are also incorrect. The correct answer is C. He didn't reach out whatsoever. So she went home and she slept without a word from that man. In the Samantha and Siddhartha Chronicle, she is still trying to jump his ultra flexible bones. I think this is quite problematic. I think if someone tells you that they're celibate, like, what are you why are you trying to still have sex with them? Like, what do you gain? There is someone out there who will do it with you. Full informed consent. You don't have to. Why are you doing this? I will say, I think Samantha loves the games. She loves the game of it all. She likes to chase. Literally go do something else. Literally anything else. Anything else. I think this is kind of pathetic, in my humble opinion. She's trying to jump his bones while he is trying to teach her patience. So she finds herself hot and bothered having a sexless night like her dear friend, Carrie. Over with Miranda, she's taking her mind off sex by hiring out 5-hour documentaries when she gets catcalled by a foolish construction worker. She then goes to Carrie's, who is painting her apartment to keep herself busy, and Carrie drones on about how she should have never farted. We finally get the truth as to why Carrie is actually worried. It's because she's fallen in love with Big. I'm sorry, what's there to fall in love with? You don't know him. Carrie's scared because she's fallen in love with him and she's scared he's gonna leave. And also, I'm sorry, how long have they been a legitimate couple at this point? It feels like a week and like 3 days. But I think I do need to calm down. I'll try my best to not love shame Carrie. She's a lover girl at the end of the day. And as crazy as it may sound, I am too. I just like dating people who like me back. Carrie realizes that she's been scared because she's actually been putting up a front, presenting herself as more put together and more chic for the sake of Big's approval. That's, yep, right? So Miranda, voice of reason, thank you, babe. She encourages her to stop that because regular Carrie is a great person. And listen, Carrie, if you can get these amazing women to love you by being yourself, then why do you feel like you need to put on a front for this fucking man you barely know? Anyways, Carrie and Miranda's conversation comes to an abrupt stop when they realize that Carrie's neighbors are going at it again. No curtains, no blinds, no nothing. The girls decide to invite the whole gang over and perv on this couple. They are lusting over what none of them can really get at this moment. The girls eventually part ways and Miranda comes across the catcaller again. She decides to give him some fire back. She's like, you know what? Yeah, actually I do want to get laid. And the guy's like, calm down, lady, I'm married. He deserves a big fat conk on the head for that one, I think. Weren't you married when you were catcalling her, you stupid bitch? Sorry. Later, Samantha is at yoga and Siddhartha guiding her through the class isn't exactly making her horny meter go down. So she straight up just asks a random guy in the yoga class if he wants to fuck, and off they go. With Charlotte and Jacob, Charlotte wants to have sex. Jacob has a low libido, but he's like, give me a hand job and we'll be fine. Charlotte ends up conceding to this request and neither party is into it, and she decides that it's time to give up on Jacob. She can't give him what he wants. He can give her what she wants, and that's the way it should be. Over at Carrie's, she is sorrowfully painting her cabinets. What I thought was a fabulous pastel yellow, but it turns out to be eggshell. This is when Big shows up, and she asks why he didn't call. He poses the same questions at her. Okay, queen. Anyways, they have some small talk while he looks around her apartment for the first time. He questions her behavior the other night and she states, "That was me having a meltdown." He doesn't respond and then he changes the topic, mentioning the couple across the street having sex. Surprise, surprise, Big doesn't want to talk about Carrie's feelings. Big tells her, "We can do better than that." And they finally have sex for the first time post Fartgate. Here we are ending yet another episode where Carrie is bothered by something. She brings it up to Big, he ignores it and he kisses her, says something nice to her, and she's like, okay. But I guess I'm happy for you though. Girl, get yours. We begin the episode with Miranda and her playwright boyfriend, Thomas, who feels the need to shower after they have sex every single time without fail. This bothers Miranda. These close-ups of this man climaxing are absolutely diabolical, and I do not hate you, so I'm not gonna make you sit through them. Just know that I suffered for this. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. I watched this episode with my friends, right? Literally all of us were like, girl, why the fuck does hygiene bother you? Like, would you rather have him sleeping next to you with all these fluids smelling like badussi next to you? Surely not. Let him have his shower, girl. Come on now. Regardless, it bothers Miranda, and I guess she has the right to be concerned. Now, Thomas explains that it's part of some Catholic school trauma as he grew up thinking that sex was dirty. So when he first started having sex, he would clean himself up after because he viewed it as something like unclean, and as the time has passed, it's something that has just stuck. Not the worst habit to have, I'll say. Talking to Carrie about it later, Miranda is not happy about the fact that he is Catholic. In fact, she mentions that she would have never gone out with him in the first place if she knew that he was a religious person. So they talk about how Manhattan is so unreligious, and the only time that Carrie has seen people in places of worship was at parties in refurbished churches. So Carrie couldn't help but motherfucking wonder, are relationships the religion of the 90s? As neither Carrie or her friends are religious, she takes to the streets to get some first-hand knowledge on the topic. She happens upon a church with parishioners spilling out in their Sunday best, and I mean best. I'm talking Oscar de la Renta, Valentino, Armani. Carrie sees Big walking out of the church with his mother. Question, how small is Manhattan and why the fuck do these two keep running into each other? I don't like that. I don't like that. This would freak me out. Is Carrie a crazed stalker? An unreliable narrator who has tricked the audience into believing that she has a relationship with Big when it's been in her head the whole time? No, but that would make a fun TV show. Oh my god, that would make such a fun TV show. Moving on, Carrie is surprised to learn that Big is the religious type. They get to talking and it turns out that he's not. He is actually an atheist and he goes to church with his mother every single Sunday because it is their tradition. Carrie and the girls are at a bar later discussing her new findings concerning Big, and here are their thoughts. Miranda thinks he's a mom's boy, that's a red flag. Charlotte thinks he cares for his mom, meaning he will be a good husband. Wrong answer, forehead. Now, Sam doesn't contribute to this conversation because she is not there. In fact, she is the last one to arrive and she comes in with a bold statement. She's in love. I don't think the girls have ever heard the L word coming out of Samantha's mouth. They're shocked. Sam tells the story. Basically, she goes on a solo date at a jazz club. This blonde man introduces himself. He's also a lawyer, and the two hit it off straight away, talking hours into the night. Surprisingly for Samantha, she doesn't go home with him. She really enjoyed talking to him and could see herself doing it again. In line with the religious themes of this episode, Carrie calls Sam a convert. Samantha thanks Charlotte as this could never have happened without her.
All that bullshit you spout about not sleeping with men right away actually paid off.
Sam apparently can see herself marrying this guy, which makes Charlotte crash out internally. However, could Samantha get married before her? Man, this is such fucking pick-me behavior. Now, Charlotte does the rational thing and goes to book an appointment with a celebrity psychic. Her name is Noni, and Charlotte wants to know when she'll get married. Noni reads the card and tells her,
"You're a strong, independent woman with great success in your future, but I do not see marriage."
Charlotte is horrified. We're soon at Big's place when Carrie inquires as to when she's going to meet his mother. He slyly changes the topic, mentioning that he never thought of her as the church type. Then he asks her what her religion is, making sure to sprinkle in compliments here and there to keep her off topic. Yeah, I see you, Big. I see you, Mr. Large, Mr. Sizable, Mr. Substantial, Mr. Considerable, Mr. Extensive, Mr. Colossal, Mr. Mammoth, Mr. Vast, Mr. Prodigus, Mr. It's my theory that Big sprinkles these compliments in to keep her off topic, and it's because I think that, no, I don't think. I pretty much have solid proof that this man is an avoidant and he knows that Carrie is anxiously attached and he doesn't care.
I want to go to church with you and your mommy.
Big tells Carrie that church is him and his mom's personal thing, which I completely respect. And I respect this because he chose to communicate this with Carrie. If someone said this to me, I'd be like, okay, this has nothing to do with me. It's something that has existed long before I came along, so I'm choosing to not take offense to this. Big then swiftly asks her if she would like to go to the Caribbean with him next week. She's like, I can't afford it. And he says that I will cover your tickets if you can buy me a margarita when we get there. And she agrees. According to my calculations, that is more than a fair trade. Back to awkward sex shots with Miranda and Thomas. When they are done, she basically holds this man hostage in bed. She's trying to stop him from taking a shower. This made me very, very uncomfortable. I didn't like that at all. He manages to wriggle himself free when she states there is nothing sinful about sex. This triggers a very, very strange reaction from this man because he clearly has some guilt over having premarital sex and is taking it out on her. He then tells her to leave. Ooh, it's dark now. So Samantha and her new man are about to frick-frack for the first time, and they exchange I love yous, surprisingly, and they get straight into it. Breaking news, Sam learns that he has a tiny peepee, much to her dismay. The next Sunday, Carrie drags Miranda to church with her to spy on Big and his mom. They plan to have a little look and leave. But as they're about to leave, Carrie accidentally drops a Bible from the mezzanine, which makes a loud ass thump, stopping the priest right in his tracks. Stopping everyone in their tracks. The whole church goes silent. Everybody turns around to look at Carrie, including Mr. Big and Mama Big. So Carrie decides to stay until the end of the service so she can say hi to Big and his mom, because she's already seen her. Might as well wait, right? No! Get your ass out of that church. This is crazy, especially because Big has told her that it is a private thing. Why did you go? Why did you go? Why did you sit right at the front where everybody can see you? Girl, come on, let's think. Let's think. Anxious attachment final boss. Am I right, ladies? So after the service, they meet up and Big introduces Carrie to his mom as his friend. And Carrie was expecting her to be like, oh, Carrie, I've heard so much about you, but she doesn't know who this woman is. She has no idea who she is. After she leaves, Carrie confronts Big as to why the hell he introduced her as a friend. And Big is like, why the hell did you show up here? I told you it was a private thing. He ends up explaining that he plans to introduce Carrie to his mom when he's sure he has to do things in his own time frame, which is completely fair, completely fair. Carrie should take his advice and do things in her own time frame. If Big's time frame doesn't match with hers and that makes her so uncomfortable, girl, go find somebody else. Come on now. Maybe it's because I've dated clingy people in the past and I'm kind of traumatized, but Carrie really tends to make problems out of thin air. Just to clarify, Big is a horrible communicator in my opinion and seems to be purposefully enabling some of her behaviors. It's because he enjoys being chased after. Now, knowing Carrie, of course, this upsets her. She sits looking all dejected in the pews after the service and Miranda comes to join her. Carrie explains what happened and claims that it's not a good sign. No, it is not! Especially because he hasn't talked to his mom about her yet, she thinks. Well, later on, Samantha asks her, what if they're just not that close? Carrie doesn't accept that as an answer, probably because they do go to church every single week. Later that night, Carrie and her friends are invited to the Church of Disco by Stanford, who also has a new boo. Alon. Stanford is deep in romance bliss with Alon and he's telling Carrie all about it. Then they get to talking about Carrie's upcoming Caribbean vacation. Carrie feels like Big is just doing this to make up for not allowing her into his life. And she doesn't think they're in a great place, so she's kind of thinking, maybe I shouldn't go to the Caribbean with him. Girl, I'll take the ticket, thank you. It's really dark in here. Let me turn this up a little bit. I'm so sorry for the darkness. I lost daylight. What can I say? I can't control the weather, Jackie. At some point, I'm gonna have to go back through this season and calculate what percentage of Carrie's conversations purely revolve around Big. It seems like Big is now her entire life, and she is uncomfortable because Big doesn't feel that way. Big doesn't feel like Carrie is his entire life. Later at the bar, Miranda runs into Skipper, who is still obsessed with her, complimenting her like crazy, etc, etc. They haven't seen each other in a while, and Skippy's kind of looking a little tasty in her eyes. The girls congregate in the bathroom at some point, another special part of womanhood, bonding in the bathroom with strangers and friends alike. I literally remember every single conversation I've had in the bathroom with a pretty girl. And that's my favorite thing ever. Sam spills that she ended up hooking up with her new lover, but breaks down when revealing that he's got a small peepee and she's just not happy with that. The girls try to console her, most especially Miranda. She has a tendency to keep a calm composure in these kinds of environments, and I love that for her and her girlfriends. Anyways, Sam doesn't think that she can compromise because she loves a big ol' but she really does like him. Charlotte leaves to go to yet another psychic, wondering whether she'll get married or not. She gets another no. They tell her that she's cursed.
But do not worry, for the $100 we can remove it.
She finally realizes that she's been scammed and holds out hope that she will one day get married. Elsewhere, Miranda invites Skipper to spend the night, and the man is over the moon. Later on, we find out two of Carrie's real problems with Big. She thinks he's withholding, real, and he hasn't told her I love you yet. Okay, I guess. Big arrives at her door in preparation for their big Caribbean trip. She heads down, ready to go, and asks for an affirmation from Big that she's the one. Big says nothing. Awkward silence. Carrie says she loves him, but she can't do this, and the two break up. Yeah! God is good. Honestly, I think this is great for Carrie. She's finally figured out that her and Big are on different pages and want completely different things from a relationship. Anyways, Big leaves, she cries, and eventually she does find faith in herself. Faith in someday finding someone that is absolutely sure about her. But we know the story of Big and Carrie, or at least I think I do from seeing memes and screenshots on Twitter and stuff. And from what I get, she never stops chasing him and he never picks her. So this is such a bittersweet moment for me because I know that Carrie has the capability of choosing herself, but in the long run, she chooses not to, and that makes me very, very sad. And I guess we will find out the truth in future videos. Overall, this was an incredibly entertaining show. I love witnessing their cute female friendships. Yes, it seems like, you know, there's some jealousy. There's a little bit of pick-me-ism going on in their friendships. I'm thinking back to when Samantha was like, oh my God, I love myself. And Miranda was like, well, you paid enough for it. And you know, I'm gonna take that as a joke. I'm gonna take that as a, you know, a little joke between friends because Miranda has not been characterized to be like that at all. She does not give pick-me-sha at all except for that one statement. And, you know, little things. So I will take that as being due to the times and not the writers of Sex and the City wanting to portray her as being a bad friend. I love the fashion. I love the music. I love the sets that they use. The show is very nostalgic. I love how it's grainy. It kind of looks like it was shot on film, although I don't think it was. As I said, I do find some of these girls and some of the other characters' behaviors very problematic, but I was expecting that. These characters were made in such a different time, and I think it's perfectly normal now that these characters are seen as quite polarizing. I can't imagine that I'm the only person that feels this way, but the show is very fun and I will definitely continue to watch it. And I will continue to make videos about it if you guys want, as long as you don't mind my complaining. So here are some brief characteristics that I picked up from these women through watching the first season of the show. Carrie is very hopeful, insecure, irresponsible with money, and the girl loves her job down. She seems very passionate about it. Samantha is very sex positive, very outwardly confident, and appearances are very important to her. Miranda is a realist. I feel like some people could also call her a pessimist. She's a lawyer, she is smart. I think she went to Harvard. Bad bitch. Ass fat. That last part may or may not be true, I don't know. I think she's my favorite character from this season. Although I will say there are bits of each character that I really like. And last but not least, Charlotte. She seems quite introverted, relatively conservative, but she is quite open-minded, which I think is really fun. And I wasn't expecting that going into the show. Now, let us finally get into my favorite looks. Let's get into the fashion of this show. Now, this little bit here is gonna be very stream of consciousness. I didn't do any research into these outfits. I just saw the outfits that I liked during the first season, and I'm gonna talk about them. Okay, so I think my favorite outfit of the first episode has to be this one outfit that Charlotte's wearing when she's on a date with, I think his name is Capote Duncan. This dress is fucking fantabulous. Any dress that shows back, I'm there. Give me 14 of them little bitches. I love that it's very sparkly. It's a little iridescent. It plays with light a lot and I'm obsessed. And then we have this little backless dress that Samantha's wearing when she tries to seduce Big in the first episode. That was kind of hard to watch. I didn't like watching that, but girl looks good. Carrie loves the big coats. I also love a big coat. This blazer that she's wearing eats. I'm obsessed with it. Charlotte looks really cute here. It's very preppy, lovely. This outfit with Miranda, I don't know whether this was fashion forward at the time, but I'm obsessed with this. This is definitely something that I can see myself wearing. Episode 2, I love this black dress that Carrie is wearing, and I love that every single time you see her, this golden chain that she's wearing looks different because that is so me. I go out and I love to fiddle, so if I had a necklace that was this long, I'd just play with it the whole time. And there's this one coat, this big ass coat. Carrie wears it all through the season and I'm obsessed with it. It's so massive. Carrie loves to hide herself in big coats and I love that. Episode 3, Miranda's eating once again. I love the slick back hair as well. She looks really good. I also think she looks really good in red. She looks Another outfit that I really liked in this episode was Charlotte's sleeping gown when I think it's the doorman coming out of her apartment because Samantha decided to hook up with him. I love a girly, a chic nightgown. Give me 14 of them. Speaking of Charlotte, I also love this turtleneck. I love a turtleneck with some sort of outerwear. I just think it looks so put together. Like you don't have to do much to look smart. And she looks smart. I love Carrie's casual clothes because you can see she puts in the extra effort to mix and match, to put layers on layers and to kind of mix colors. And I like that. She's very fun with her wardrobe. It's lovely to watch. And then we have this blue dress that Samantha wore to a dinner party. Stunning, stunning. Color looks fantastic on her. I need this dress. On to episode 4, Miranda stuns in this, I don't even know what you call it, this blazer tie collared shirt combo. I need to find this outfit. Honestly, this is encouraging me to dress more, I don't even know what you call it, dress more masculine. I don't know, but wear more suits and blazers and shit. And I really like that the shirt she's wearing inside is quite tightly fitted. Like a little bit of sex appeal going while we're looking mysterious, while we're kind of looking like an usher at church also. It's very We have Carrie once again in this massive coat. One thing I really like in television shows is when you can see that the character is recycling stuff that they have in their wardrobe. It adds to realism. It kind of takes me out of it when you can tell that these characters are just wearing different clothes every single day and they're supposed to be like middle class. Where did you get this infinite wardrobe from? That don't make no sense. So I like this. I love an outfit repeater in a television series. On to episode 5. We've got lots of pretty outfits here. I love Samantha in this all green. It's very gator-like. I feel like it's giving swamp chic. Very cute. I love this dress on Carrie. Body tee. And wow, she looks great in this. She also looks really pretty in this dress that she wore when she was meeting Amelita at the bar. Charlotte looks amazing in this tight-fitted black dress. Can you really go wrong with a fitted black dress? I don't think that's possible. And then later in the episode when she's meeting the creepy artist dude, well, not creepy, she did end up posing for him, so she couldn't have found him that creepy. I think she looks so fire. It's very bosswoman. She looks like a first lady, and her hair, she just looks fantastic. Wow. And then last outfit that I really liked in this episode was this one that Carrie was wearing when she was on a date with that French guy. Outfit is definitely giving princess syndrome. I don't know the last time I saw someone wearing a boa just casually, and she looks fantastic and it's so colorful and there's cherry blossoms falling all over her. It's just, it looks perfect. She looks like she's walking into her castle. And I think it very much goes with her character. On to episode 6. I think the most prominent outfit in this episode was the little nude beige dress that Carrie was wearing. She looks fucking fire. And we also have her big coat. Love that. I think my favorite outfit of this episode though has to be Charlotte in this like really nice fitted V-neck red top and this mini skirt that also has hints of red in it. I like that the skirt also has V's all around it. It has like this V pattern which kind of matches the V-neck. It's just such a well put together outfit. She looks great. Charlotte knows how to put together an outfit. Oh my god. Once again, we have Miranda in Smart casual chic. Not even smart casual. She's fully wearing like a 3-piece suit with a blazer on the top of it. She looks great. And I love that her hair is always slicked back. Miranda, what are you doing to me? You look too good. I don't know why I put this picture in, but all of the girls are wearing coats and they look fantastic. In episode 7, Carrie's wearing this gorgeous, gorgeous dress. And this blue just looks amazing with her blonde hair. I think it goes fantastic. Another dress that she wears in this episode is like a whitish, silver, grayish dress. That just looks fabulous on her once again. Low cut back, which I love. All these girls know how to eat up a low cut back. We have Charlotte in this really, really pretty top. I love tops like this that have like a, I feel like there's a technical term for this, but I don't know what you'd call this, but tops that have a florally pattern and then they have 2 layers. It's form fitted on the top, and then the outer layer, which has the florally pattern, is like a little more loose, a little bit more sheer. I think this is so beautiful. I got a top like this the other day and I'm obsessed with it. On to episode 8. I love this blue sparkly dress that Charlotte is wearing. I love anything that sparkles as long as the sparkles aren't too much. And Carrie looks fantastic here with her hair straightened. I just wish she didn't do it to like prove a point to her boyfriend slash situationships ex-wife, but she looks great. I like this. I also really like that blazer. Miranda kills it again. Are we surprised? No. Here we have Charlotte in this really cute outfit. This is so 90s to me, paired with her hair. I think she looks fantastic. We have her here in a very preppy pastel slash white slash beige outfit. I think that's her staple and I really like it. In episode 9, the girls are wearing all black. They look fantastic. They look like a coven of witches and I would like to see that TV show. And then we have Samantha here. I think this is when she was shopping with Turtle. I think this was after. Can I just say, I love a jacket that has fur here and here also. Also either or. She looks great. The black and the plum colors go together fantastically. And then my last favorite piece of the episode was this oversized jacket that Carrie's wearing. I think it's so cute. Like I said, Carrie seemingly loves to drown herself in something like big. Is that why she likes big so much? Who knows? But I need this jacket. On to episode 10, we have Carrie in a very cool, calm, collected outfit. I think this is very chic. It's like very solemn, like, oh, I'm sad. Don't look at my eyes, I'm wearing sunglasses, but also look at me because my outfit is fabulous. And then I really liked this dress that Sam was wearing. Was this at a baby shower or at a party? I don't remember. She looks great. Neckline, 10 out of 10. Sam looks fantastic in red. And that's all I gotta say. On to episode 11. Charlotte looks fantastic in florals. Is this dress something I would wear? Probably not, but it looks amazing on Charlotte. I think she looks good in anything floral. And one thing I love about Charlotte, she found her color scheme and she stuck to it and she looks amazing doing it. This next outfit was when Sam was on a date with Siddhartha. I love this, what do you even call this? Coat, sweater? I don't know what you call this, but I like it. It's really cool. She looks like a ski instructor. Very bougie, love it. There's this shirt here that Carrie's wearing that looks very similar to one that Charlotte had. Let me check if it's the same. No, it's not the same. Carrie also looks very pretty in florals. I like it. I love a high neckline. On to the final episode. I really like this outfit that Carrie's wearing. It's kind of inspiring me. So she has this like fuchsia colored top, high neckline, goes just past her elbows, and then she has these capris that are gray, super form fitted. Also, where the fuck is her waist? Damn. And then she kind of has a matching sandal, and then she has a little funky bag. I really like this outfit. And then we have this gorgeous pink dress that I want and I love. I'm obsessed. I really like when Carrie, I don't know, it looks like she prepares her hair differently and it's a lot bigger. I think the bigger her hair, the better she looks. She looks good either way, but I just think Carrie looks fantastic when she has her hair all big and all out. It's gorgeous. And then we have Samantha in the green coat that she was wearing a couple episodes ago. I think she was wearing a green dress with it earlier. Once again, I love an outfit repeater. Yes, let's recycle these clothes. And Miranda here is, you know, showing a little bit more skin than she usually does, wearing this super form-fitted dress. She looks fantastic, and I think she's wearing like a purple show as well. Amazing. My housemates are cackling. So that was my video on my thoughts on the first season of Sex and the City. This show was basically what I was expecting. No, I've never seen the whole series in totality before, but I'm not surprised. This show has such a grip on pop culture, such a grip on society, and I love that. But also basically I've kind of seen the whole series of the show via social media because people are still talking about it all these decades later. And honestly, I love that. You know, as much as I don't like some of the traits that these characters have, I cannot deny that this show and these characters and their fashion and the music of this show is such an iconic part of pop culture even to this day. You know, even though you're not upper middle class or upper class like these women are, you're not Caucasian, you don't date men, you're not straight, I think everyone can find a little bit of themselves in these characters. Girl, I'm looking at Carrie and the way she's behaving. I'm thinking back to my 21-year-old dumbass self who wanted people to like me so bad that I would pretend so they would like me. But that's not good, that's not good. So as much as I'm complaining, I do see a part of myself in Carrie and all these women. And I can complain about that, but I can also love certain parts of them, and I do. God, these girls are fantastic, and I can't wait to learn more about them in future seasons. So if you guys would like to see another video, let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you've watched this far, you are a trooper. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I've been MIA. I'm going to be more consistent, I promise. If you would like to follow me on my social medias, they will be at the end of the video and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!